Welcome to English Conversation Café. Learn English through natural conversations.
Okay, so I want to ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where your English is actually pretty good, but then something happens? Someone important walks in, or you have to speak in front of people, or there is just a little bit of pressure, and suddenly your English just disappears.
Oh, that is a painful question.
Like it was never there.
Like your brain just closed a door, and you are standing outside knocking like, hello, words, anybody home?
Exactly. And here's the thing. That is not you being bad at English. That is actually your brain doing something very specific. Something it does to everyone, in any language.
Okay, wait, explain that. Because I feel like people always think it is just a confidence thing. Like, oh, you just need to be more confident. And I hate that advice, by the way.
It is not just confidence. What actually happens is, when you feel pressure or stress, your brain shifts into a kind of survival mode. And in that mode, it pulls resources away from the parts that handle language. Complex thinking, word retrieval, putting sentences together, all of that gets harder.
So your brain is basically like, forget the vocabulary, we might be in danger.
Kind of, yes. Your brain does not know the difference between, I am nervous about this job interview, and I am about to be chased by something. The stress response is the same.
So my brain genuinely thinks ordering coffee in a foreign country is a life or death situation.
To your nervous system, a little bit, yes.
That explains so much about my life.
And here is what makes it even more interesting. This hits harder in a second language than in your first language. Because in your native language, those words are so deeply wired that even under pressure, they still come out. But in English, if the connection is not strong enough yet, stress can cut it off completely.
So the goal is to make the connection so strong that even your stressed, panicking brain cannot get rid of it.
That is exactly the goal. And that is what today's episode is about. How to actually train your brain so that your English is still there when you need it most. Not just when everything is calm and comfortable.
I really needed this episode. And I think a lot of you did too.
Welcome to English Conversation Café. I'm Max.
And I'm Haley. And today we are talking about something that basically every English learner deals with. The feeling that your brain is just not cooperating.
That moment when you know the words, you have studied the vocabulary, you understand the grammar, but when someone actually talks to you, everything just disappears.
Poof! Gone. Brain offline.
And here's the thing, that is not a you problem. That is a training problem. Your brain has not been given the right workout yet.
And by the end of today's episode, you are going to have 5 specific, practical things you can do, starting today, to train your brain to actually think in English. Not translate. Think.
These are things that actually work, and we are going to walk through each one properly so you understand why it works, not just what to do.
So if that sounds good to you, and it should because it is excellent, hit subscribe and stay with us. It takes 2 seconds and it means you never miss an episode. We are building something good here.
All right, let's get into it. So, I want to tell you about someone. I'm going to call him Lucas. Lucas was a student I worked with a few years ago. Really smart, very dedicated. He had studied English for about 4 years. He could write a perfect email. He could read an article and understand almost everything.
Sounds pretty good so far.
Right? On paper, his English was solid. But the moment someone talked to him in real life, a fast conversation, a phone call, even ordering coffee, he would just freeze. Completely.
Ugh, that is the worst feeling.
And he came to me and said, Max, I don't understand. I know English. Why can't I speak it? And I asked him one question. I said, when someone speaks to you, what happens in your head first? and he said, I hear the words in English. I translate them into my language. Then I think of a response in my language. Then I translate it back into English.
So he was basically doing the work 4 times.
Exactly. He was running English through a very long tunnel every single time. And tunnels slow things down. The problem was not his vocabulary or his grammar. The problem was the route his brain was taking.
So what happened with Lucas?
We spent a few weeks changing how he practiced. Not what he practiced, just how. And slowly that tunnel started to close. He stopped needing to convert everything. English started to feel more like a direct road and less like a detour.
I love that. A direct road.
That is what thinking in English really is. It is not magic, and it is not something only gifted people can do. It is a habit, and your brain is very, very good at building habits if you give it the right input.
Which is exactly what we are going to talk about. Because your brain, and this is genuinely fascinating, your brain is physically rewiring itself every time you use English. Like new connections are forming. It is not just learning, it is construction.
Building new roads.
And today we are the road crew.
I'll take it. Okay, so let's talk about why the translation loop happens in the first place. Because I think once you understand why, the habits we share later will make a lot more sense.
Yes, context first.
When you learn a language as a child, your first language, you never translate. Nobody teaches a 2-year-old the word dog by showing them the word in another language. They point at a dog. The word and the thing connect directly.
Dog equals fluffy barking creature. Done.
Exactly. But when most people learn English as adults, they do it the other way. They see an English word, and they immediately link it to the word in their own language. So the connection is English word, then native language word, then meaning.
Instead of English word, meaning. No middleman.
Right. And the more you practice with that middleman in the way, the stronger that habit becomes. Your brain gets very efficient at taking the translation route, even when you do not want it to.
So it is not laziness. It is actually your brain being efficient at the wrong thing.
That is such a good way to put it. Your brain is incredibly efficient. It just needs to be pointed in the right direction.
Okay, so here is something I want to add, because I think this is really important and people do not talk about it enough. A big reason people stay stuck in the translation loop is not just habit. It is that they are trying to say too much too soon.
Say more about that.
So like, in your own language, you can express anything, right? Complex thoughts, long sentences, nuance, sarcasm, whatever. And when you are learning English, your brain still wants to say those complex things. So it tries to build those big sentences, and then panics when it cannot translate them perfectly, and everything falls apart.
The solution is not to translate faster. The solution is to think smaller.
Exactly. You do not need to say the full, beautiful, poetic version of your thought. You need to say a version your English brain can handle right now. Short, clear, real.
Think of it like learning to cook. You do not start with a complicated 5-course meal. You start with something simple. You get good at that. Then you add more.
Okay, I love food analogies. The more of those, the better.
Noted.
But seriously, I think a lot of learners feel embarrassed by simple sentences. Like, oh, that sounds too basic. But a short, smooth sentence said confidently sounds 1,000 times better than a long sentence said with 3 pauses and a nervous laugh.
Fluency is not complexity. Fluency is smoothness.
Write that down. Okay, I want to do something. Max, speed round.
What kind of speed round?
I am going to throw you everyday situations and you have to respond in English in under 2 seconds. No thinking, just go.
Is this to prove a point or to embarrass me?
Both. Okay, ready? You walk into a coffee shop. What do you say first?
Hi there, can I get a large coffee, please?
Good. See how fast that was? You did not think about it, you just said it. Why? Because you have said it 1,000 times. It fires automatically. Next, someone bumps into you on the street.
Oh, sorry. No worries.
Instant. You did not build that sentence. You retrieved it. Like grabbing something off a shelf. Okay, harder one. Your friend asks how your weekend was.
It was pretty good, actually. I stayed in mostly.
There. Did you hear that? You hesitated on I stayed in mostly. Because that one was not a stored phrase yet. You had to build it in real time.
Huh. You are right. The phrases I have heard and used a lot came instantly. The less familiar one made me pause.
And that is the whole lesson right there. The secret to stopping the translation loop is not just vocabulary. It is building a library of ready-made phrases that your brain can grab without thinking. Things like, to be honest, I'm not sure. By the way, it depends. Could you say that again?
When you learn those as complete units instead of word by word, your brain does not have to assemble them in real time. They just appear.
Like how when someone says, "How are you?" you do not think about it. You just say, "I'm good, thanks," because you have said it 10,000 times. It is automatic.
This is actually one of the most powerful things English learners can do. And most people do not even know it is a strategy. They learn individual words and wonder why conversations still feel slow.
Learn the whole phrase. Use the whole phrase. Your brain will store the whole phrase.
I love this episode. All right, let's get into the actual habits, the practical stuff.
Habit number 1, and this one sounds simple, but it genuinely works. Label your world.
What this means is, start connecting English words directly to objects around you. Stick a note on your fridge that says fridge, on your window, window, on your coffee mug, mug.
And every time you look at it, your brain makes a direct connection. Fridge. Not the word in your language, not a translation step, just fridge, the thing, the object.
You are training your brain to skip the middleman. And over time, when you think of the object, the English word comes first.
I actually did this when I was learning Spanish. I had sticky notes on literally everything in my room. My roommate thought I was losing my mind.
Was she worried?
She asked if I was making a scavenger hunt. I said no, I am just rewiring my brain. She did not find that reassuring.
Okay, habit number 2, and this one is my personal favorite. Talk to yourself.
Officially the most relatable habit on this list.
Narrate your day in English. Out loud if you can, or in your head if you are somewhere public. As you make breakfast, I am making eggs. The pan is hot. I need a little oil. As you walk to work, it is a bit cloudy today. I hope it does not rain.
And you keep it simple. You do not need to narrate like a nature documentary, just easy, real sentences about what is actually happening around you.
What this does is force your brain to think in English in real time, not in response to a question you have prepared for. It is spontaneous. And spontaneous thinking is exactly what happens in a real conversation.
And here is the key. Do not correct yourself obsessively. If you say something a bit wrong, keep going. The goal is flow. You are not writing an essay. You are training the engine.
Habit 3. Simplify before you speak. If a thought feels too big for your English right now, make it smaller. Say less, say it well.
So instead of trying to say, I found the movie disappointing because the character development felt rushed in the second act, you just say, the movie was okay, but I did not love it.
Same meaning, smaller package, and it comes out smoothly and confidently.
And the amazing thing is, as your English gets stronger, the thoughts you can express will naturally get bigger. The complexity comes with time. But the confidence comes now if you let yourself use simple sentences without judging yourself.
Habit 4. Learn phrases, not just words. When you study vocabulary, do not just write down depend. Write down it depends. It depends on the situation. Well, it depends. Learn how the word actually lives in conversation.
Because words do not exist alone. They exist in context, with other words, in patterns. And when you learn the pattern, you can produce it automatically. No building required.
Think about the phrase, to be honest. When you hear it, you immediately know the speaker is about to say something real. You know the tone, the meaning, the function, instantly. That is because you have heard it used so many times in context.
And habit 5. Create an English-only zone. Pick a specific time, a specific place, or a specific activity in your life where English is the only option. Maybe it is the first 30 minutes after you wake up. Maybe it is your commute. Maybe it is cooking dinner.
During that time, no switching back to your first language. Your phone is in English. Your thoughts are in English. If you cannot find the word, you describe it, you talk around it, but you stay in English.
Even small daily immersion is incredibly powerful. Your brain starts to suppress the translation habit because it does not have the other option. It has to work directly in English.
And you do not need to move to an English-speaking country to do this. You create the immersion yourself, wherever you are.
10 minutes a day of pure English thinking does more for your fluency than an hour of studying vocabulary lists. I really believe that.
The brain learns by doing, not by studying, doing.
I love that we explained the why today, not just the what.
That is the cafe way. Okay, before we get to the cafe rewind, we have a question for you.
What language does your brain dream in?
Seriously, we want to know. Do you dream in your first language? In English? Some mix of both? Some people say the moment they started dreaming in English was when they knew something had changed.
Drop your answer in the comments. We genuinely read them. And if you have ever had a moment where English suddenly felt natural, a conversation, a dream, whatever, tell us about that too. We love hearing those stories.
All right, it is time for the cafe rewind. Today we are doing something a little different. Instead of reviewing expressions, we are going back through the 5 brain training habits from today's episode, one by one, clearly and simply so you can remember them and actually use them.
Think of this as your take-home guide. After this, you will know exactly what to do, why it works, and how to start.
Habit 1. Label your world.
Put English words on the objects around you. Your fridge, your mirror, your desk, your window. Every time you look at the label, your brain connects the English word directly to the thing. No translation in the middle. You are building a direct road between the English word and the real world. Start with 5 objects in your home. Add more each week. Habit 2. Talk to yourself.
Narrate your day in English. Simple sentences about what you are doing, what you see, what you are feeling. I am walking to the kitchen. It is raining outside. I need to charge my phone. Keep it easy and keep it flowing. This trains your brain to think spontaneously in English, which is exactly what real conversation requires. Even 5 minutes a day will make a difference. Habit 3. Simplify before you speak.
If a thought feels too big for your English right now, shrink it. Say less, say it well. A short, confident sentence is always better than a long, uncertain one. Your brain builds fluency through small wins. Do not wait until you can say the complex version. Start saying the simple version today. Habit 4. Learn phrases, not just words.
Study English the way it is actually used, in chunks, in patterns. Do not learn depend. Learn it depends. It depends on the situation. Well, it really depends. When you know the full phrase, your brain retrieves it automatically. No building required. From now on, every time you learn a new word, find the phrase it lives in. And habit 5, create an English-only zone.
Pick a time or a place in your daily life and make it English only. Your morning commute, the first 20 minutes after you wake up, cooking dinner. During that time, think in English, listen in English, speak in English, even if it is just to yourself. Small daily immersion beats big occasional study sessions every single time. Start with 10 minutes. Make it a habit. 5 habits. 5 direct roads into thinking in English.
You do not need all 5 at once. Pick one, just one, and try it this week. See what happens.
Okay, I have to admit something.
Go on.
After we planned this episode, I spent my whole morning narrating my life in English. Out loud. In my kitchen. I am pouring the cereal. The milk is cold. I have run out of coffee, and I am not okay with this.
And how did it feel?
Honestly, really good. Like a little silly, obviously. But there was this moment where I just stopped thinking about translating and just said things. And it felt so much lighter.
That is the feeling. That is what we want for every single person listening to this right now.
Your brain can do this. It is literally built to do this. It just needs the right practice, done consistently. And you have already taken a step today just by listening to this episode.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us at the cafe. It genuinely means a lot.
If today's episode helped your brain even a little, hit subscribe. That way, your brain gets a fresh English workout every single week. And we will see you right back here next time.
Take care of yourselves and keep talking.
Even if it is just to you. Especially if it is just to you.
Thank you for listening. We hope today's conversation helped you understand real English better. Subscribe and join us for the next episode.